Hi, it's Julien at South Street Chiropractic. I'm here with a chap I've known for a long time. This is Matt Argall, who is a 2 times World Bodybuilding champion. Just thought it'd be really interesting to run through some questions, and then in a video we're going to do in a minute, we're actually going to go through it and adjust Matt, and we'll focus on some areas as well. Have you always been strong?
I've always been into health, fitness. I've always been quite sort of explosive sort of character at school. Well, I was quite shorter than most other people. I could always produce quite a lot of power in short bursts, so yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, okay. And actually, what? So tell me, when you won the championships, when was that? You probably better dates.
It was 2015 and 2017.
Yeah, okay. And obviously, you know, your muscles are in great shape. What other kind of strengths do you think it takes to be a world champion?
A sort of mental toughness. I think you need to be very focused and dedicated. I mean, I don't consider myself a stubborn person, or competitive person, but
yeah,
other people seem to disagree with me on that one.
Right. You think you are a competitive person?
I don't think I am.
You don't think you are, right?
Just the whole world seems to disagree with me, so
right,
I'm not sure who's right or wrong there. But yeah, it's all about being focused, and if I said to myself, right, you can't do that ever again, I could do it. I'm good at shit. That'd be the end of it. So things like dieting,
right?
You know, if I need to stop eating something.
Yeah. You can just once you made the decision, you kind of locked in.
Yeah.
Do you get, in terms of actual routines, how structured and planned do you get with your routines?
I think routines are key to most things in life, I think. And once you've, it becomes like a habitual pattern then, you know.
Yeah.
In a way, habits and patterns are good because it's less mental energy. You can focus on the things you need to be focusing on.
Right.
So once you've prepared all your food and prepared your plans, then you just execute them.
So do the thinking up front and then make the decision and just do. I'd say that sounds very familiar to what we do here. In terms of, what strength do you think is important? What strengths do you value in people anyway? Not in terms of a training thing, just in terms of people.
I think I admire honesty, and I think honesty with other people and honesty with yourself. A lot of people aren't honest with themselves, you know. They want to do things, but at the same time they don't want to do things, so don't say you're going to do it then, you know. If you can't believe what you're saying yourself, or believe in yourself, then it's never going to happen, you know. And I think people need to be more honest in general, I think. So.
Yeah, I think it's tricky, isn't it? It's easy, and we all do it. It's easy to lie to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that on next week.
Tomorrow never comes, is it?
Tomorrow never comes. Yeah, I had a great phrase the other day, which I think is in a training. I think it was SAS type that they were talking about, saying put off to tomorrow things you don't want to do. That was great. Who do you admire and why?
I suppose growing up I used to look for the action films like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's pretty obvious. You know, people assume I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
Because again, he's strong mentally and physically, you know. People like that. Also got into my history. People like Winston Churchill's, and got into the Greek philosophers as well. So.
There's a question. Who's your favourite Greek philosopher?
Well, I suppose Marcus Aurelius has got a bit of those, isn't he, I suppose, for most people.
Okay, cool, good. I was thinking about putting these questions together. I wanted to ask you about pain, because when we're in clinic, and obviously people who come, they usually starts with pain, they come to us with pain. And I often say about athletes being in, when they're performing and whatever they're doing, when they're training, when they're actually performing at a high level, they're in pain a lot of the time. And I think there's people kind of don't realise that. They just, because it all looks good, smile on the face, and the commentator might be saying, they look as if they're in the zone. You're in pain all the time. So, what's your experience of pain when you're training, when you're competing?
Funny enough, a friend at the gym said bodybuilders sort of live with pain. You know, if it wasn't painful or uncomfortable, then you're not really doing your job properly. You're not pushing. You always got to push the boundaries and push the barriers of what's capable of yourself. Because if you have like a logbook, you can look back. Crikey, X amount of months ago I was doing this, and I can do this. But you need to recognise it's not about being sort of bullheaded as well, and ignoring pain. It's about understanding pain and knowing what you should be feeling at what sort of times, really, I guess.
Yeah. So that leads on to my next question. So how would you, this is just an interesting question, how do you tell the difference between training pain and injury pain?
Okay. Well, as you know, I've trained myself more than once. I think, again, it's listening to your body, really. I mean, there's more of like a burning sensation from a training pain, but it's more the sharp, sort of aggressive pains that I feel that I've done to myself, that I know that I'm in trouble, and they're the ones that they don't scare me, but I know I need to do something about it. You know, there's also the rest thing, but sometimes.
So in terms of that that differentiation, so that burning pain, how long would you kind of, what is a normal duration in terms of, I'm talking about DOMs and things like that, yeah?
I mean, you've got the initial training burn, if you like, which would be achieved through a training set, which would maybe last 10, 15, 20 seconds perhaps. DOMS, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, is delayed onset muscle soreness. So that's it's kind of the pain that you endure from the muscle being broken down and damaged. That can last maybe, on a bad time I had it for 6 days, and on the 7th day I've got my
Really? As long as that?
So,
wow.
When you say we live with pain, then sometimes it's true.
And it's horrible, isn't it, DOMS?
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
I've dropped things on the floor and I've debated whether I should just leave it there.
Yeah, indeed. It's like that. I've certainly, when I've done the first time I did that long swim, I think for 24 hours I was just kind of a gibbering, twitching wreck. And you think, and you do start thinking, is this it? 6 days, wow, okay. And in terms of injury pain, you know, what point do you start thinking, okay, this is a bit more?
I think it's because I've been training such a long time, it's quite easy for me to differentiate between the two. But again, like I mentioned before, it's very like more of a sharp pain, and I think my lower back, because I've got quite a small waist, which is good for bodybuilding, it's almost like a bit of my Achilles heel, if you like, because obviously it's like a pivot point.
Yeah.
And a lot of stresses go through that, so that's the area I've probably injured the most.
Okay. We met back in 2015 or so I think, looking at my notes. What actually led you to seek help? Do you remember?
Yeah, always. I had a couple of twinges. I think it was my shoulder. I think, again, I've had twinges on and off from training that I've sort of ignored, and then I was speaking to a friend at work, and he sort of recommended you highly. And I had an issue with my shoulder, and I think my back as well. Again, I've using heavy deadlifting and squats. You know, they take their toll. But I think I seen a chiropractor years ago, and he really put me off.
Right.
Didn't enjoy that experience very much.
Okay.
So
obviously when you came here, I'm practicing Activator.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
And I'd certainly, when I first got involved in Activator, you think, you know, can this tool actually with somebody's bigger muscle, is it gonna work? Is it gonna do it? I now know that absolutely it does. What was your experience of so that difference in technique?
I mean, I carry a lot of tension in my body anyway, because it's part of the process really. And when I knew that some guys grabbing hold of me, twist me, I tighten up even more, and I sometimes started to sweat a little bit, because it's not a nice feeling. Watching too many action films, I think, people cracking their necks and things. So I noticed when I came here, there's more like micro adjustments, and I never really had that before. It's more just like big clunk, maybe 2 or 3 big clunks, and then that's kind of the end of it. So something you got recommended, and
okay, cool. And since we've been doing this now, what you come in, I think we come quite regularly, don't you? We do it monthly, 6 weekly, and things like that. What impact do you think that being adjusted regularly has had on your life?
A lot of confidence, because obviously a lot of stresses are going through my body. I mean, when I first met you, you did like an alignment picture to show how out of alignment I really was.
Oh yes.
And that scared me to death. It really did. I mean, when I think of my back and then the weight's going through my back, it's like a bridge. I use the analogy of a bridge. If the bridge isn't true,
absolutely,
it's not going to hold anything. I saw that, and
that was it.
It scared me to death. I couldn't believe how far I was.
I remember that well. Brilliant. Okay, this is Matt Argall. I'm Julien Barker. I hope you found this useful, and we're gonna in a minute we're gonna do actually an adjustment video so you can watch that. That'll be on YouTube and that'll be in various other places. So see you soon.